Okay, so this is a great question, and I'm going to answer to you that no, I don't think this is likely to happen, but this is good for me to explain how disaster planning can work for us and against anxiety and against doom spiraling, okay? So, I am Daniela, scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. I was once Captain Mestinek in the US Army. I was a military intelligence officer. Okay, so the threat forecasting is my job. We are the experts on the bad guy for the purpose of knowing how to defeat them, right? Which is something Elon Musk has forgotten. That's the reason you study bad guys. I know that Al Capone was taken down by the IRS. Okay, so she says, I truly hope this isn't inappropriate for me to ask. No, it's fine. I love respectful questions. But do you personally think they'll put people with mental illness and disabilities in those wellness farms? Okay, no, I don't think that. And I think that for a lot of the things that we are afraid of, we should just think about the logistics. And I'm not even getting into mental illness, but I think there's like a 10% neurodivergent. I could be wildly wrong on that. Just think of the logistics of putting 10% of 340 million people into wellness camps. I think that's 34 million people. Is that right? So no, I don't think that's very likely. And the logistics of that would take more than 4 years. But in disaster planning and military threat planning, we do most likely and most dangerous. I don't think it's I don't think it's likely to happen, and I think we have a lot of ways to push back if it does. But let's say it happens. Boom, it happens. I am your fairy threat mother, right? It is done. What's your response? This is what the most dangerous course of action is for. It's for you to think, what is your response going to be? My response is going to be to start putting together my brigade of neurospicy women and all of the things we know how to do and run a bunch of shenanigans in those camps. RFK, you were not prepared for us, right? Like, what you can't do is let disaster planning just shut you down, right? Even if he does that, that's not the end of America. That's not the end of humans. Like, we fight back. We resist. What does that look like? Somebody asked me if they thought they were going to start mandating haircuts. No, it's not going to look exactly like North Korea or anywhere else. But on the one hand, think of the logistics of mandating gender-affirming haircuts in America with the diversity of people that we have. Let me tell you, lots of hair control in the US military, and it is hard to enforce. Okay? But say it happens, and she was worried about her son. What do you do now? They're going to do it to enroll in school. Okay. What's your response going to be? Say that happened tomorrow. Are you going to pull them out of school? Are you going to fight back? What is fighting back going to look like? Is it going to be a lawsuit? Is it going to be marching? Is it going to be, and then what does that look like? What do you need to do to prepare that? What partners do you need to have? Where are the conversations going to be happening? Right? Like, what does it look like? And there's a couple of quotes that I think are really important for right now. One of them is that history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And I think it's important not to get caught thinking it's going to look exactly like it's looked anywhere else. The philosopher and thinker Hannah Arendt, studies, totalitarianism, was a Holocaust survivor, says that Americans are always looking around, like, for this foreign leader and a, accent. And like, when fascism comes to America, it is going to be all American. And we now know it is going to be Donald Trump, right? But there was something I had a realization of as a lieutenant on my first deployment, and then I would teach this to all my people later, that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you pitch, right? The Department of Defense puts in 2012, in the height of zombie apocalypse, go see my video about how zombie apocalypse is a little fanfic of white supremacy. You can see that on my Knitting Cult Ladies Closet account, I believe. I'll tag her here just in case. Please follow me on both. they did prepare for the zombie apocalypse. Official posters from the Department of Homeland Security, because they're like, it doesn't matter what you prepare for. And if we say prepare for earthquake season, you're not. But we're obsessed with zombies right now, so prepare for the zombie apocalypse, and then you're going to be more prepared. I once couldn't get my soldiers interested, my 18-year-old analyst soldiers interested in doing a prepare training country brief on Afghanistan, but I couldn't get them to stop talking about World of Warcraft. So I told them to do a country brief on World of Warcraft. And then it was just plug and play after that, right? So the thing is, it doesn't matter what scenario you predict, actually, because it's not going to go according to plan. But what matters was that you've made your operators think through what they would do if things went boom. And then when things go boom in a different way, you're more prepared to react. Okay, so this is a little disaster training 101. But what you can't do, what you shouldn't do, and I hope you don't do, is like go full prepper, right? Because the problem with preppers, two problems. One, they're so scared of some disaster happening and ruining their lives that they just ruin their lives anyways. And two, once you're really prepped for something and in place, you usually want to go. Fire. Boom. Right? This is why I think cult leaders often precipitate their own apocalypse. Anyways, this is thoughts right now. But yeah, so I don't think it's inappropriate to ask questions. I don't think it's inappropriate to be afraid right now, but use the fear, right? Use the fear to be like, okay, we can talk through these logistics. We can see that this is probably not possible. We can see that there would be a bunch of things that would happen in between, right? Like learn about the boring work of how our government pushes back. Or you can go worst case, but don't get stuck there, right? I call this apocalypticizing, fantasizing about the apocalypse. Like, no, you're probably not going to get a convenient, civil war or martial law, like signs. It's just slowly our country will start looking more and more and more like dictatorship era Latin American countries. And we're already part of the way there. And if you're interested in my book about growing up in the Children of God religious cult and going into the cult of the U.S. Army, you have to get on Knitting Cult Ladies Closet because you can't get it. Yeah, because I'm still in TikTok jail.